Hello everyone, welcome to my Silent Hill 2 remake, hard difficulty, no damage walkthrough. This is the Blue Creek Apartments, and right there I just did a stealth attack on that mannequin. So this game has a mechanic where if you do a melee attack from behind on an unaware enemy, James will floor the enemy to the ground, and you can then finish off the enemy with a couple more stomp attacks. However, the detection on the stealth attack is atrocious, but doing the method I just did against that mannequin will ensure that the detection doesn't mess with you. So what I did there was I kept the camera pointed away from the mannequin, and then I slowly shifted it towards the mannequin, and as soon as I got close enough, I pressed the melee button and I got the stealth attack, and then I finished it up with a couple of stomp attacks. But trying to do that against enemies that are moving is almost impossible to do because of the awareness of the enemies, and I really do not understand how the awareness on the enemies work, because it says to keep your flashlight off and you have to also move slowly, but a lot of the times when you get close to the enemies, even when you're walking and have your flashlight off, they just know where you are, and this causes the already poor detection on the stealth attack to be even worse, so most of the time you're never going to get the chance to do it. But right there, after picking up the key and turning the valve, two of these lion figures will spawn, so you need to shoot them in the leg, stun them, and then finish them off with melee attacks. This game has some really great feedback systems with the pistol. You can see right here, every single shot is making the enemy flinch, and also, when you shoot the enemies in specific body parts, you get specific effects. So obviously, shooting the lion figures in the head, it does a lot of damage, and you can generally floor them to the ground after 2 shots, and then you can finish them off with a melee attack. And also, if you shoot lion figures or mannequins in the leg, and you put them into a very specific stun animation, you can get a specific melee attack that knocks them to the ground and finish them off. And also, these guys that are playing dead, you have to make sure that you trigger them so that when you do go to melee them, they'll die instantly. As soon as they get up, they'll get all of their health back, so you do not want that to happen. But right there, I made sure to shoot that mannequin in the stomach and then shoot the leg, so that I'm more likely to put it into that correct flinch animation that allows me to finish it off with a melee attack. And we're going to pick up this valve right here in a moment, and there's also some pistol bullets here. And then as soon as we leave this room, there are going to be a couple of mannequins and some lion figures. One mannequin will come after you, and then you can avoid the rest of the enemies by taking a very specific path. There's definitely a lot of skillful play involved with this section. I had a tough time really enjoying this section on my blind playthrough, but this time when I'm recording a walkthrough and I'm taking the time to better understand the section, I really enjoy this part of the game a lot. The way the enemies are used, the way the feedback systems are, the way skill is at the forefront of thought with this entire section, the way the level flows, it's really great. This is definitely one of the better parts of Silent Hill 2 Remake by far, and it allows this game to feel so much more like a survival horror experience for the right reasons compared to Silent Hill 2 OG. It's just a shame that the later parts of this game suffer from very diminished quality, and the pacing on this game has to be the worst pacing I've ever seen in a game by far, but I'll explain more in the later videos. But after picking up the hour hand and setting it to the 9 position on the clock, this door is open and it allows us to gain access to the minute hand and the pigeon figurine. There is a lying figure, and for some reason, even though my flashlight is on and I kind of moved a bit, this lying figure didn't detect me, so I was able to perform a stealth attack on him because his back was to me. I have no idea how that's possible, because normally when I'm at that distance from lying figures, even when my flashlight is off and I'm standing still, they still notice me. But that was one of the rare instances where a lying figure didn't detect me. I mean, the stealth on this game is just weird with how it works, and because of these inconsistencies, the stealth is just completely unreliable as a mechanic for properly dealing with the enemies. You're far better off just relying upon other methods when dealing with the enemies. But in this room right here, there are 2 mannequins, so I'm going to take out the first one right here, and then the second mannequin is on the other corner, so I'm going to use my flashlight to aggro it. It's going to come for me, but I managed to get a shot out right there. I generally wait until the mannequin is walking towards me, or when it's in the middle of a melee attack animation like there, so when it's in the startup frames of the melee attack, it's a lot easier to hit its body parts. And using this methodology, we're able to save up on a lot more pistol ammo. Mannequins generally die in about 4 pistol bullets, although I don't know if the enemies actually get an increase to their HP in the later parts of this area. I'll have to see when I get to those parts. But now that we have the figurines, we're going to be able to solve this puzzle right over here. Place the swan figurine in the second slot. This will allow us to gain access to the key, and we can gain access to the area where Angela is. And upon interacting with her, we'll be able to gain access to the key of resilience, which will allow us to gain access to Pyramid Head's area further. But of course, we do need the second hand, and the second hand is very easy to get, and there aren't really any threats here. There is a mannequin on this staircase here, but he only attacks if you go around the staircase rather than up the staircase. But here is a puzzle. The puzzle here is 5-2-2, and then we're going to be able to get the second hand right over here, and that will allow us to gain access to Pyramid Head's area in a moment. And Pyramid Head isn't so bad. He's a timed encounter, so do not waste a single bullet on Pyramid Head. So initially, Pyramid Head is going to be passive. He's going to be a lot slower. And then at a certain point in this encounter, you'll hear something akin to an explosion, and you'll get a bit faster. But dodging Pyramid Head isn't a problem, and this is far more engaging than how it was in Silent Hill 2 OG. In Silent Hill 2 OG, you actually fought Pyramid Head in that room where the mannequin was, like on those stairs, but you fought him at the top of the stairs. The stairs were flooded, and you had to actually time him out or just shoot him a bunch of times with the pistol in order for him to go away. And he moved very slowly, but when he started his attack animations, they were a lot faster than his walking speed, and it just looked really stupid. And I've even seen some exploits regarding that encounter where people have been like standing in front of him and just whacking him on the head constantly with the wooden plank, and it's just a side effect of the era that Silent Hill 2 OG released him, because of course it was back in the PS2 era, and there's a lot of dumb stuff like that on the PS2 era. But here, you have to actually worry about his attacks, and Pyramid Head is able to do an overhead slam. He's able to do a 3-hit combo that involves 2 horizontal slashes followed by the slam, and he's also able to do single horizontal slashes. At the moment, you can use these obstacles to put some distance between yourself and him, but it's random when he decides to actually destroy these obstacles, and sometimes you can destroy them when you're right next to them, so be on your guard when you are close to him and the obstacles are separating yourself from him. But right now, there's not a lot of obstacles to allow me to keep my distance from him, so this is where I'm going to have to use the dodge. And the dodge is really good on this game because you actually get iframes. There's no kind of moment where the enemies track you in the middle of the dodge animation, so long as you time your dodges. And there's none of that garbage from Resident Evil 3 Remake where, for instance, like the zombies could just banana grab you even after you did the dodge. So, like, you dodged the first grab that the zombie did, and then the second grab, they would just loop around and immediately grab you. Like, there's none of that kind of dumb stuff with the dodge system in Silent Hill 2 Remake. I definitely find the changes that they've made with Silent Hill 2 Remake gameplay-wise are miles better than whatever they did with Silent Hill 2 OG. And, you know, they made the combat a lot better, they made the animations a lot more complex, they added so much more to the way the enemies attack, and they just made so many of the systems regarding gameplay so much better. It's just a shame that the pacing and the overuse of certain enemies and overuse of certain environmental designs really causes the later parts of this game to feel very repetitive, mundane, soulless, and laborious. And my blind playthrough really showcases just how bad the pacing is in Silent Hill 2 Remake, and the story on this game is awful. And I didn't even find the story of Silent Hill 2 OG to be that impressive, but the way they handle the pacing, the screenplay, the voice acting, the way characters respond to certain events, the order of events, like, the order of events is really stupid in Silent Hill 2 Remake. I don't know how they decided upon the order of events and how they occurred in Silent Hill 2 Remake, but it really feels like the developers had a bunch of bullet points on a spreadsheet, and they just decided to randomly choose the order of those events rather than having it make any logical sense, and it just really messes with the investment into the story, and it just makes so many parts feel very stupid with the screenplay. Like I said, so much more to say in the later parts of this video, but that has been Pyramid Head, and there's going to be a save point outside of this area, and this will conclude the Blue Creek Apartments. So stay tuned for the future parts. Thank you all for watching, and you take care now.